into your hands. Look at the food on your table. Statistically, the nitrogen in your very DNA was forged by one man. A man who pulled life out of thin air. But that same man also opened the gates to a new kind of hell. He is the savior of 4 billion people. And the father of modern nightmares. This is the paradox of Fritz Haber.
The late 19th century. The world was facing a silent apocalypse. The population was exploding, but the soil was dying. To grow food, you need nitrogen, and the world's only major source of natural fertilizer was controlled by distant empires and blockaded by the British Navy. Scientists made a terrifying prediction. By 1930, millions would starve. Germany was suffocating. The hourglass was running out. They didn't just need a scientist. They needed a miracle.
Enter Fritz Haber, an ambitious, brilliant, and obsessive chemist. He believed he could do the impossible: pull nitrogen from the air and force it to bond with hydrogen. In 1909, he subjected gases to unimaginable heat and pressure. It was industrial alchemy. When the valve opened, out flowed synthetic ammonia. He had literally created bread from air.
The famine was finally cancelled. He was a hero. A Nobel laureate. The man who fed the world.
We stand here today, united in purpose, to chart a new course for our nation.
But power and genius are a dangerous mix. Haber believed that science belonged to the state. He believed that a scientist's ultimate duty was not to humanity, but to his country. And the world was about to test that belief. Haber's process was so valuable, it became the ultimate state secret. Intelligence agencies launched a shadow war to steal the blueprints. Spies infiltrated chemical plants. The formula for synthetic bread was guarded more heavily than the crown jewels. It wasn't just science anymore. It was the ultimate weapon. (1914) World War I breaks out. The war was supposed to be over by Christmas. Instead, it ground into a bloody stalemate in the trenches.
Do not advance until further
Haber,
notice.
the ultimate patriot, offered his services to the Kaiser. If the British blockade our food, we will break their lines. He repurposed his miracle. The man who synthesized life began to synthesize death. April 1915, Ypres. Haber personally supervised the release of thousands of cylinders of chlorine gas. He waited for the wind to blow towards the enemy. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a psychological terror. The gas didn't just burn, it erased the air. Science had crossed a line from which it could never return. Haber called it a higher form of warfare.
But the horror didn't stay on the battlefield. His wife, Clara, a brilliant chemist herself, was horrified. She called his work barbarism and a perversion of science. The night after his first gas attack, the fracture in their home became permanent. Clara ended her life in a tragic protest. The next morning, Haber didn't stay to mourn. He packed his bags and left for the Eastern Front to supervise the next gas release.
Germany lost the war. Haber was branded a war criminal by the Allies. To pay off Germany's massive debts, he turned his genius to a new problem: pest control. He developed cyanide-based pesticides. One of his team's inventions was a fumigant called Zyklon A. It was meant to protect German grain from insects. A harmless, practical application of chemistry. Or so he thought.
But the miracle of synthetic fertilizer had a dark, volatile side. In 1921, at the Oppau plant in Germany, a massive silo suddenly detonated. The explosion was so immense, it created a crater hundreds of feet wide, heard miles away. Haber's gift to feed the world had just proven it could also level a city.
The ultimate tragic irony? When the Nazis came to power in 1933, the man who had given his life, his wife, and his soul for Germany was stripped of everything. Haber was born Jewish. He was exiled. He died in a hotel room in Switzerland, lonely and broken, a man without a country. But his legacy didn't die with him. Years later, the Nazis modified his pesticide invention into Zyklon B, the very gas used to exterminate millions in the Holocaust, including members of Haber's own extended family. Today, nearly half of the human body's nitrogen comes from the Haber-Bosch process. Without him, the Earth could only support 4 billion people. We are alive because of his genius. Yet, his name is whispered in the dark corners of history. Fritz Haber proved that science has no conscience. It is merely a tool. The question is not what the tool can do, but who is holding it.